Reacher Season 3 tones down one brutal scene from the books. Reacher has been a major hit ever since it premiered in 2022, and the third season is proving to be even better. The performances are homogeneously powerful, while the scenes of violence and slaying, though shown at a clinical remove, are still shattering to watch. For this chapter, the showrunner Nick Santora adapted the seventh book in Lee Child's Jack Reacher series, Persuader. As is the case in the show, the book follows the titular character as he tries to take down Zachary Beck, a man believed to be involved in illegal operations while pretending to be in the business of selling Oriental carpets. The show doesn't cheat on the book, though one major scene is toned down greatly. The episode Dominique, told through flashback scenes, reveals that Alan Richson's character had a competent proc named Dominique Cole Mariah Robinson during his days as a major in the United States Army's 110th MP Special Investigations Unit. Unfortunately, Cole was tortured and murdered by Francis Xavier Quinn. The show touches on this tragic event on a surface level, but the book digs into it disturbingly. Author Lee Child describes Cole's death graphically in Persuader. In Persuader, Dominique Cole is assigned to work under Jack Reacher. She does her job thoroughly, so a great camaraderie develops between her and her boss. Unsurprisingly, the two are the first to stumble upon the illegal activities of the intelligence officer named Francis Xavier Quinn, and it falls to them to do something about it. But just whom can they trust? Quinn ensnares them in a labyrinthine game of cat and mouse as he continues selling classified military technology to his band of shadowy associates. But they are on him. They identify a dead drop site and gather all the evidence that will be enough to convict the man. Because Cole had been so passionate about the case, Jack Reacher allows her to head to the villain's location and make the arrest by herself so that she can get the credit and boost her resume. Thrilled, Cole heads to Quinn's base in her full military uniform and with her nameplate fully displaying Cole so that the criminal will always know who arrested him. Unfortunately, Quinn captures Cole and tortures her. He mutilates her and then stabs her under the chin until the blade reaches her brain. After he is done, he flees. The passage is more disturbing than anything Lee Child has ever written, but the author's intention is clear. He not only wants to paint Quinn as a greedy person who has been searching for lucre under the noses of his superiors, but also as one of the most sadistic people in fiction. He wants readers to feel the same pain that Jack Reacher eventually feels over this loss. As soon as Quinn commits the murder, we know that Reacher will subject him to a brutal death when he finally finds him. This gives us the urge to continue reading, looking forward to that moment. Season 3 of Reacher only shows the aftermath of Cole's death. Make no mistake, Cole's story is still moving and frightening in Dominique. The episode's music and intrepid, intrusive filming style help evoke a heady, clandestine world of crime without consequences, an ecosphere bound to implode. For those who haven't read the book, the new character's death hits even harder because the friendship between her and Jack Reacher is first built to solid levels. We see him warming up to her when she arrives at his office. He tells her how he doesn't keep chairs because he doesn't want people to hang around for too long, torturing him with inane questions and their annoyingly sycophantic personalities. For her, he makes an exception. Amazon Prime's Reacher has built a reputation for delivering the kind of bare-knuckled, justice-fueled storytelling fans crave, and Alan Richson's towering portrayal of Jack Reacher has turned the show into a surprise action juggernaut. Faithful to the spirit of Lee Child's novels, at least in tone, if not always plot, it's a series that doesn't shy away from violence when it serves the story. But Season 3 is switching gears, albeit slightly. One scene from the source material has been noticeably toned down, and fans are starting to take notice. Spoiler warning, mild spoilers ahead for Reacher Season 3 and the book Persuader by Lee Child. Season 3 adapts Persuader, one of the darker, more psychologically complex books in the Reacher canon. It's a tale that plunges Jack into a covert operation involving DEA agents, arms dealers, and revenge, classic Reacher territory. But in bringing the novel to screen, the showrunners made a key decision to scale back one particularly brutal moment that, in the book, defines Reacher's ruthless edge. We're talking about the infamous beach house sequence. In Persuader, Reacher infiltrates a criminal operation by deliberately getting kidnapped by the bad guys, allowing himself to be taken into their lair. While held in a secluded beach house, Reacher bides his time before unleashing his inner beast. In the novel, his escape is marked by a calculated and extremely violent takedown of two guards. It's not just a physical confrontation, it's a methodical execution. Reacher doesn't just beat them, he breaks them. It's a cold moment that blurs the line between hero and anti-hero, reminding readers that Reacher's brand of justice doesn't come with a conscience. But in the show, that scene plays out differently. The tension remains, but the savagery is softened. Rather than the full-force, bone-shattering brutality fans expected, the sequence leans into suspense and precision. Reacher takes them out, sure, but it's cleaner, quicker, and less graphic. So why the change? Showrunner Nick Santora has been tight-lipped, but sources close to production say the creative team wanted to evolve Reacher's character for screen in a way that doesn't desensitize viewers. He's still dangerous, still lethal, says one insider, but he's not a monster. The goal is to show that he has control. He chooses when to escalate. It's a subtle but important shift. In print, Reacher often walks that fine line between controlled rage and full-on destruction. Lee Child doesn't shy away from making his hero morally ambiguous when needed. But television, especially in a serialized format, demands a bit more balance, particularly with a leading man who's becoming a fan favorite not just for his muscles, but for his surprising depth. Alan Ritchson himself addressed the change in a recent interview. Reacher is a force of nature, no doubt. But I think there's power in restraint. That scene, yeah, we could have gone full throttle. But sometimes less is more. The intimidation, the silence, the stare, it can say just as much as a punch. The decision also speaks to a broader trend in action storytelling. Viewers today are increasingly aware of the psychological weight behind violence. Gratuitous brutality can sometimes overshadow character development, and with Reacher's growing popularity, the writers are wisely playing the long game. By holding back in this scene, they leave room for escalation later when it matters most. Of course, reactions have been mixed. Hardcore fans of the novels argue that the scene's original brutality was a defining character moment. That's Reacher, one Reddit user wrote. He's not Batman. He doesn't knock people out and leave them breathing. He ends threats, but others appreciate the nuance. We've seen what he can do, another fan counted. What makes it interesting is watching when he does it. That kind of choice adds tension. In many ways, the softened scene is still a love letter to the character's ethos. It's Reacher being smart, surgical, and strategic. He knows violence is a tool, but not always the first one he reaches for. And make no mistake, when the gloves do come off later in Season 3, it's more than worth the wait. Ultimately, the change reflects a show growing into its own skin. Reacher may be based on books, but it's carving out its own identity. One where Jack Reacher remains the towering avenger of justice, but one who, every now and then, lets his restraint speak louder than his fists. And honestly, that's just as intimidating. Let me know if you'd like this adapted into a blog post style, or if you want to add quotes, behind-the-scenes details, or something more fan-focused. Many ways, the softened scene is still a love letter to the character's ethos. It's Reacher being smart, surgical, and strategic. He knows violence is a tool, but not always the first one he reaches for. And make no mistake, when the gloves do,